Did you know that a planned description, also called blurb, can set your book miles apart from others? And it also helps Amazon figure out what potential buyers to show your children's book to. Hi there, I'm Eevi, an award-winning children's author and ghostwriter over on eevijones.com and the creator of Children's Book University. I create videos specifically for children's authors, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my weekly videos. In this video, I'm going to share with you why a really good blurb or description is so important, the main key elements every powerful book description should have, the layout of the description to make it truly eye-catching, and I'll also share when to write your description. Hint, it's not right before you hit that publish button. And for the double combo effect, I will share with you in the end what you can combine your powerful book description with to truly make your book's sales page stand out from all the rest over on Amazon. Now, what is a book description and why is it so important? Whether or not you write a picture book or middle grade chapter book, a well-written children's book description is incredibly important. Unfortunately, many authors do not plan ahead and throw something together at the very last minute, right before they hit the publish button. The truth is, however, that a planned out description can set your book miles apart from others. Oftentimes, it's this description that lets potential buyers know if your book is the one they have been searching for. Therefore, a great blurb should at the very least do two things. Hook the reader right away so he or she will want to read the blurb in its entirety, and let the readers know if this indeed is the book that will address and fill their needs. Now, while the title of a book greatly helps its discoverability and grabbing the buyer's attention, it's the words we use to describe the book that often are the reason a reader decides to buy or not to buy it. A book blurb is a short, no more than 250 words description of your book. If written well, it can be one of the most important marketing tools because it hooks readers, convincing them to buy. When deciding what book to put in front of potential buyers, Amazon uses an algorithm. Because Amazon is a system and not a person, it truly evaluates every bit of information we authors provide about our book, including our book title, our subtitle, the age group we set for our book, the categories we choose for our book, and also what we are including in our description. All this influences Amazon's algorithm, which again in turn decides which book is put in front of what audience. So we want to make sure that all these parts are congruent, and I make sure to share with you what I mean by that. So as you can see, a well-written blurb is very important to the success of your children's book. So we really want to make sure we make the most of it. So let's look at the main key elements every powerful book description should have. When writing our book description, we want to ask ourselves, when it comes to our children's book description, what are some of the things we should and could include and weave into our description? What should we pay attention to? What makes a description a truly good one? So let's look at some of the key elements and ideas we may come across and use them as inspiration for our own books. The first thing every description should have is a hook. A hook will make people want to keep on reading our description. Ideally, this hook is at the very beginning of our book description, only one single sentence long. The more concise we can be here, the better. This little teaser can come in a number of shapes and sizes. It can be a form of a question, it can be parts of a rhyme if it's a rhyming children's book, a fun statement about the main character, or it can also be an unusual statement about a certain situation. Now, here are some great examples of great hooks. See if you can guess what books they are from. Poor mouse. A bear has settled in his favorite chair, and that chair isn't big enough for two. If a hungry little mouse shows up on your doorstep, you might want to give him a cookie. There was a hippopotamus who hiccuped quite a lotamus, and every time he gotamus, he'd fell upon his bottomus. Words are powerful. They can hurt or they can heal. The key thing here is to make sure that this hook appears above the fold. Above the fold is an old newspaper term where editors would make sure that the headline and the most important part of the front page would always be above the fold. So when I say above the fold, it refers to the reader being able to read this first sentence without having to hit the read more button right below the description. We want to reduce any friction that would make it harder to hook your reader right away, and showing it above that fold is a great way to do so. The second element we want to include are credibility markers such as awards. Awards are something that can truly set your children's book apart from all the others. And while we want to display them, we want to make sure to do so in a concise manner. Here it's best to simply weave it into one of our other sentences. That way, we still share this important piece of information, but also don't linger too long. Here are two great examples of how to showcase and weave in your award. Again, see if you can guess what books they are from. Award-winning author and illustrator Ashley Spires has created a charming picture book about an unnamed girl and her very best friend who happens to be a dog. And here's the second example. A New York Times bestseller and award-winning book, this story is for anyone who's ever had a big idea. These credibility markers are right there for us to read, but don't take up any extra space. This is the weaving technique that I also talked about in my How to Write Your Author Bio video. I'll be sure to link to that below. The third element we want to make sure to mention, if it applies to your book, is if it is part of a series. If your book is part of a series, then that would be a great little piece of information to weave into your book description as well. This will let potential buyers know that you have more than one book to offer, thereby helping you promote your other books in this series as well. Again, this can be done very succinctly by simply weaving it into one of your other sentences. The fourth element, very important to your description, is your audience. Who is your book for? Sometimes it can be helpful to define or gently hint toward your audience for your potential readers. That way, readers will know exactly what to expect. For example, if your picture book is all about police cars, you could include a little phrase such as, "Little police car fans will delight in XYZ." Here, readers know right away whom this book is and isn't for, and either keep on reading or move on. The fifth and very important element to your book description are keywords and synonyms of these keywords. Now, these two are a huge one. Including keywords, key phrases, and synonyms are important because Amazon evaluates every bit of information you provide about your book. That's because its algorithm uses this information to decide which book to put in front of what visitor. And because Amazon is essentially a computer, it will use keywords you use to classify your book. Amazon's ultimate goal is to make a sale, right? And that's why it is trying to match up each buyer with the product he or she is most likely to purchase. So if buyers are searching for a monkey book, for example, books that have monkey as its keyword in the description, as well as some other important places, will fare far better than those that do not. If you need help coming up with keywords and key phrases for your children's book, I always use a tool for this that helps me figure out what keywords people are actually using and looking for on Amazon. I've created a separate video on this favorite tool of mine, and I also always recommend it to my clients and my students. So I'll make sure to link to that below as well. And the final element I want to mention here is the length of your description. Oftentimes we think more is better, right? But when it comes to getting busy people to read our blurb, it's very important to keep it as short and sweet as we possibly can. For children's books especially, a description shouldn't be more than 200 to 250 words. More often than not, everything we need to say can actually be done with around 100 and 150 words. Here we want to make sure that every word we include counts. The more concise you can make it, the better. When it comes to drafting the content of your children's book description, ask yourself what it is about this blurb that would make you want to buy the book. and what would help you in deciding whether or not to give this particular book a try. These are the things that you should then include in your book description. Now let's look at the layout of your children's book description. When it comes to the layout of your book description, which of these two versions do you think looks better and more interesting? The left one here or the one on the right? We don't even need to read what this text is actually saying. I think it's safe to say that the text on the right of the same description looks a lot more inviting and pleasing to the eye, which is really important. Oftentimes, people will just forego to read something that looks like a big blob of text. So we want to always make sure to break up our text. And to do so, you can use this amazing book description formatting tool that I discovered many moons ago that will help you with the formatting. I will include the link to it below. That will allow you to format your text without having to do any HTML coding yourself. Now let's look at an example book description to see these 5 elements I just shared with you in action. This here is the description of the children's book, The Garbage Trucks Are Here. Based on what I've shared with you, let's take a look at all the different elements and why they are working. Now note here that this description is color-coded only for this case study, for this video right here. On Amazon itself, it appears as regular text. We have the parade is done and the streets are a mess. Here come the garbage trucks to do what they do best. This illustrated children's book is for all the little boys and girls that love garbage trucks. You'll encounter a front-loading garbage truck, a rear-loading garbage truck, a side-loading garbage truck, a grapple truck, and even a wheezing and slurping vacuum truck. 5 hungry garbage trucks come to town to gobble up all the trash and waste they can find. It's a big job, but together they can do it. Bits of facts about each type of garbage truck have been beautifully woven into the rhyming story, providing little garbage truck enthusiasts with a story that lets their love for these gobbling giants come to life. They will want to read it over and over again. To learn more and to watch the book trailer, visit www.xyz. Now let's look at why this description works. First, let's look at the appearance. I would like you to notice the overall picture here. This description has been divided into easily digestible paragraphs that are appealing to the reader's eyes. The length here works as well. This description is less than 150 words long, but we've still been able to share everything needed for potential buyers to make a decision as to whether or not this book is the right one to purchase. And if you look at the hook in this particular example, the hook is both the target age group as well as some fun rhymes, hinting toward the fact that the book itself may be written in rhyme as well. This blurb also clearly establishes whom this book is for, right? It says little boys and girls that love garbage trucks. It also calls them garbage truck enthusiasts. When it comes to the key phrase and key words, here the key word clearly is garbage truck. Note that even though this word appears over and over again, it does so in a rather natural way, right? We also have a number of other words that are related to garbage trucks, such as trash and waste, which may also be relevant to a buyer's search. And when checking out the book's description directly on Amazon, you'll see that the most important part of this blurb is above the fold, which I have indicated by that gray line right here. Again, this simply means that everything above the fold is visible on Amazon without having to click on the Read More selection button. That's important because many readers will not click to read more if the text above the fold does not interest them. So here, everything above the fold captures people's interest, and everything below the fold helps to seal the deal. Now, when should you write your children's book description? When it comes to writing your blurb, it's best to wait until you have at least completed your story. I personally like to wait until the very end after my illustrations have been completed. And that's because I like to take everything into consideration, letting myself be inspired by both my story as well as my cover illustration. However, I always prepare my blurb before I upload my book onto KDP, because by the time you upload your book, your head will be filled with so many other things. So by creating your description you want to use on Amazon, you are much more prepared and have done your research regarding the best keywords. What I love doing every time I'm over on Amazon to look for books for my boys is to practice all that I have just shared with you. Whenever I look at a children's book description on Amazon, I ask myself these three things. What is the hook of this description? What makes me keep reading, right? What is it that may convince me that this is the book that I have been looking for? And finally, what is the layout of this description? Is it visually inviting? And likewise, I also pay attention to what parts of the description make me realize it's not the right book. And I pay attention to when exactly I lose interest in reading a description, and then think of ways how I would write it differently. Training our brain to look for certain things like this will help us greatly with the writing of our very own description. Now, in the beginning, I mentioned the double combo effect, where you can combine your powerful book description with something that will truly make your book's sales page stand out from all the rest over on Amazon. And that's the creation of what is called A+ content. Creating A+ content will allow your sales page to look just like a sales page from traditionally published children's books, where you can add more pictures of your book to your sales page on Amazon. And to show you how to do just that, I've created a separate video. So once you're ready to publish your book, I highly encourage you to watch that video as well, because it will truly make such a difference. I'll make sure to link to that below as well. And now it's your turn, my friend. I can't wait to see your amazing book description for your children's book. You're so ready to play with the big kids now. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. Here is to your very own fun and creative book description. Bye!